And my lobby is not correct, but that's fine.
What's wrong with your lobby?
To me right now, it's the fourth pick blue side that is banning.
Beautiful. Well, mine does not have that issue. Thank God. We have the. Also, we have our draft app going on. The Vlad banned first. Is Vlad
Vladimir
banned?
banned.
Is that banned just unanimously in these tournaments?
I think it is, but I think it's a very good thing that they banned the Vlad. It is something that Trip Nip Heart plays a lot of. So I definitely understand the ban. Definitely some scouting going on.
Definitely true. The Zac ban also. We saw last night a little bit of Zac and what he can do. Definitely annoying to play against also. Changes your entire warding pattern.
All these new angles are available.
Yeah, somebody likes to play some siege mids. Zerath and the Vel'Koz. Your team also pretty big on those champions.
Very big. But the more I look here, the less I see it in his champion pool. Maybe it's something that they've scrimmed against. Maybe they know something we don't.
Yep, the Aurelia ban, we know that SLD plays that a pretty good amount in the top lane. Also, I'm not sure if we saw it in the mid lane also, but definitely in the top lane.
Mostly in the top lane. I think they had a couple of games mid. I may be mistaken, but top lane did have quite a few games on it.
The Vi ban coming out there. No surprise.
And that's a big one. That is a big one because that's a lot of the champions he plays right now. That's Vi's one very important one. And it's a champion that is pretty easy to play and enables your solo laners a lot post 6.
Ooh, the first pick Hecarim on blue side. What are the odds we see this flex between top and jungle?
It's coming back into the meta in the top lane. We've been seeing it more and more, especially in the LCK. I don't think NA has fully adapted to it yet, but it's a very interesting pick. I don't think you can first pick at blue side though. On the top lane. We'll see what they do with it.
You're about to be proved wrong. Xin Zhao is the answer. Now, I'm no jungle expert, but is the Xin Zhao matchup good into Hecarim jungle?
Xin Zhao is a very good duelist. I'm expecting him to be looking for those duels, whereas Hecarim is looking for those very fast ganks and cross-map plays as much as he can. So that is a Darius top, so the Hecarim is going to the jungle for sure.
Definitely, and Aphelios also on the other side over there. Very strong AD carry, despite, you know, some recent nerfs, still staying at the top board. And Thresh there, that's a lot of ability to fight. And Kennen locked in. That's a fast first 3 champions there. You think that's probably the Kennen top?
I'm thinking it's more of a Kennen mid right now.
Ooh.
I'm hoping to see a Kennen top, because contrary to most people, I do like the range tops against melees, because you do see a bit more fighting, especially since we're not in pro level. They do tend to trade more, and then it gets more fun. But let's see what they do. I think it is a counter pick to Darius as well, so we could very much see a top the Zed ban coming in.
No surprise there. I mean, we know the SLD loves the pop-off mid laners, the Yasuo, the Zed, other things like that. So Zed ban not surprising at all for them. Just waiting on the last ban for red side here.
I really do like the Ezreal ban, however. It's something that does inflict a lot of damage on the Aphelios. It does have range to trade the Aphelios a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It gets annoying in lane, so I like that ban a lot.
Solo lane Diff banning out the Syndra with their last ban. Trying to pinch this mid pool. Waiting here for Last Dancer's final ban.
Now here's the thing, it's much harder to ban when you're last dancer right now because the Kennen is a flex.
Exactly.
Whereas
yeah.
on the blue side you don't know. You already know the team, so you already know that they are lacking a mid laner and an ADC, so you can ban the Syndra and the Ezreal, right? It's pretty easy.
Right, and they're going to go with the Morgana ban, so you don't know, like you said, if that's mid or top, but you know that the support hasn't been picked, at least you hope. So the Morgana ban, pretty safe. It's a pretty...
It enables Aphelios a lot as well.
Yeah.
Aphelios needs those supports that are going to peel him, which the Braum does here as he's coming through.
Yeah.
He managed to peel a bit. However, it is a very short range lane.
With
And
the
the
Ash
pick,
pick,
no
yeah.
surprise there.
The Yasuo being hovered. Do it.
Now Yasuo Hecarim, now that is a very powerful duel in the mid lane.
One thing to note, though, that is a completely AD composition.
into not a lot of tanks for now on red side here. Let's see if they go for that or if they try to go for more damage
If
in
the
the mid
Kinnan
lane.
is a flex, this is the time to have something like that. Because if the Kinnan is top lane, you're right. There's no huge tank here. Going to time the
Pantheon.
Pantheon.
So I'm thinking that's a Pantheon mid, which is decent into Yasuo. It's a fair matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them have a lot of damage. Um, I am gonna give the edge a little bit here to the Yasuo Hecarim duo, and that is because of the speed at which they can execute. They can do it very fast. The Hecarim just comes in. His E is a very good trigger for Yasuo's ultimate, and it's a quick in and out, and they get a kill. However, in a very long fight, in an actual 2v2, Pantheon and Xin just feel like they have more sustained damage.
I agree. There's definitely a case here, though. If, Last Dancer gets ahead in this game, the scaling of the Ashe and Yasuo together is pretty nutty. When you get into these super hyper late game team fights, the Zen and Pantheon you imagine start to fall off a little bit when you're having to move through the Thresh box and the Flays and the Darius frontlining, things like that. But you do have a Kinnan, and Kinnan can always be late game insurance. A one good flank with a Kinnan ult can, end the game.
And they have the Aphelios. Aphelios doesn't like a lot of range against him, which Ashe does have, but that's the only range we have, right? That's the Ashe and maybe the Thresh hook. So he won't have that much of a difficulty to go into the fights and dish out the damage that we know Riot spent 200 years collectively doing.
Yes.
So he can do it late game. They do have a very good team fighting as well in the late game. With the AoE from Kennen coming in, Xin Zhao is a big disruptor in the middle of the team fight. Braum has an amazing ultimate. So both teams do have a good team fighting. They do have both scaling as well. Very few tanks in this game, if any. We have a couple maybe on Braum, which is a support, so low gold income, and Darius, who builds off tank. But that's about it.
Yeah, so the all AD comp is not as detrimental as we thought, because there is a lack of tanks. Braum really being the only true tank on there. Like you said, he's a support. He's not going to have the income that a top lane tank would have, or a jungle tank or something like that. So realistically, when you're looking at these two comps, who do you give the advantage to in this game?
I'm going to give it to blue side for the ease of execution. I just think it's easier to pull off, the Hecarim Yasuo combo. It's easier to get a go button on Ashe ult. It's easy to get an Ashe ult into a Thresh hook. And Darius is pretty straightforward as a champion. But if played correctly, the red side here, they have a lot of AoE, they have a lot of disrupt, and they can pull off a very good fight, especially with a Kennen flank coming in, matching a Pantheon ult perhaps. So much easier to execute blue side, but I think red side does have a very good chance of fighting back here.
I like it. And for the two junglers here, when you have Xin Zhao and Hecarim, who really has the early pressure here? When you look at the lanes and gank setup and things like that, who do you think has the advantage in the early game?
Hecarim is a better ganker early game because of the speed at which he can get to the lane, passing through wards even. However, if I'm looking at mid, Pantheon is one of the best enablers for a mid lane gank that you could have. Pantheon jumping on Yasuo, who is a melee character, he cannot stay too far back. It's going to be a stun into Xin Zhao, jump in and knock up. It's a lot of CC early there, so I would like to see that duo just fighting early game together. It would enable both of them so much.
True. And also, a little bit harder on the Darius top to get away from ganks than the Kinnan. Kinnan does have the lightning rush, so it can be frustrating to gank at times. Even if you are Hecarim running in, that instant cast on that's a little bit harder than ganking, say, a Darius who really doesn't have an ability to get away.
Darius has the ability to 1v2, however.
That is true.
And we'll see if he can pull it off, because if he manages to dodge the cannon, maybe the Q, he can maybe pull off a 5-stack fight onto a duo that hasn't yet landed a stun. It's going to be very hard to gank him, but like as you said, if they pull it off, they get the stun off, Darius doesn't have much escape he has to fight.
Okay, and we are getting ready to load into the game. Just 1 second here. Teams are going. We are on a 3-minute delay for everybody in chat, so if the game ends, please, if you're watching, guys, don't come in and type the ending. That's what we had yesterday.
Now, skin check here. We have 5 high noons. They prepared for this. They were ready.
5 high noons. It's a full high noon. We didn't even notice that during, champ select of the possibility of having 5 high noons.
Now, I think that gives everyone 5% more AD.
It does, correct? Right, yeah. 100%. Are there any runes that jump out to you here as surprising?
Let me take a look. There's a lot of Conquerors.
Game of Conqueror.
It's a lot of Conquerors. We are seeing, how many? 7 Conquerors in one game here. That's a lot of healing. Someone is going to have to invest here in some anti-healing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking more on the red side. I feel like Hecarim, Darius, and Yasuo, as well as Ashe, they all want to be healing much more than Kennen might be wanting to heal Pantheon as well.
Right. That makes sense. I still can't get over all the high noon skins together. Very nice.
Very well coordinated.
We are 100% here, just waiting for that final tick over into Summoner's Rift. For a lot of players, and this is something the ESDL does very well, is for a lot of players, this is the most competitive experience they can get. If you're not somebody with LCS aspirations and you just want to compete, you just want to play, this is the peak of that competition, and as someone who's played in it yourself, what's it like playing in leagues like this?
It is very different, especially if it's your first time competing. Competitive League of Legends is an entire new experience. Everything feels more, everything matters a bit more. Every death counts more. Obviously, it's less toxic, so there you got that going on. Hopefully, your team won't flame you if you die, but
hopefully.
But obviously, you still pressure yourself a bit more. So if you die, it can get into your mental. You may be thinking, "Oh, my whole team is depending on me. They're all counting on me, and here I am not performing right." But it is a lot more fun. Everyone I talk to does enjoy the experience a lot more. And it gets us that step closer to being a pro player, which is the dream for many League of Legends players.
Yeah, that feeling of, playing in a competition with people watching it. For instance, right now, this is a silver gold, championship game. And, we're sitting at 50 viewers on it. 50 people watching these guys play, which, is maybe a chance more than most of them will get to see. In normal, if you're playing solo queue, you don't normally worry about, people watching your game or casting over it or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looks like a pretty passive level 1 here.
Now, as we get into this game here, I want to highlight the differences in summoner spells. We have a Yasuo with Exhaust, which is a very powerful 1v1 tool. However, the Kennen opted to go, what was it, the Kennen mid? No, the Pantheon mid. Went for the Ignite, so he has combat potential, but it has, honestly, into a Yasuo, Exhaust might have been a bit better, which I like from the Yasuo taking as well, because he wants to make that fight happen. Also, there's no flash on the Hecarim. Let's see if that means anything during the game.
Right. We've seen Ghost on a couple of Olafs in recent games in the ESDL, and some of that probably is a little bit of the solo queue mentality. It's not LCS. Some of these guys think, I take Ghost in solo queue, I'm used to that, but competitive normally flash is what you take because there's a little bit more coordination. But nothing wrong with the Ghost there, especially on Hecarim. Level 2 first on the Pantheon, going for a trade here. Nice chunk.
Nice trade, got the level 2 first. I like seeing the Ghost because he went for the Conqueror instead of the Predator rune, so it does give him that bit more mobility for his ganks as well.
Does make sense. Level 2 first in the bot lane here. Thresh gonna body a little bit here, but Philios no problem backing off, playing safe here. Normally feeding, not feeding here. And lane's playing out pretty passively so far. Not a whole lot happening early, as we don't expect. Jungler's not quite active on the map yet. So yeah, what this bot lane matchup? So it's, I assume, Thresh Ashe favored. Ashe normally can be extremely annoying. Thresh known for being abusive in lane. Would you agree?
Thresh is also safer than the Braum. Obviously, the Braum does have peeling, which is very good for the Aphelios, but he does not offer any of that range. And Ashe is she's gonna do it just what she did right now. She's gonna abuse that volley.
Zen, you see in top lane, Zen sitting top lane in a bush with the Hecarim walking up behind here. Kennen going in for the stun, but the Zen Zhao fighting the Hecarim. Hecarim just goes right on by him, gets the flash out of Kennen.
Very nice read by both junglers. I don't know if they expected each other there, but they did a pretty similar clear, and they met in the top lane.
Yeah, a little bit of trading here mid lane. Conqueror's procced. Yasuo does have the knockup, uses the exhaust. Windwall comes out to invuln a bunch of that damage, but the Zen Zhao is right here. Gets popped immediately. Almost gets the Pantheon, but not quite enough damage.
Beautiful pathing by the Xin. He realized the Pantheon could have been in danger. Maybe some communication there.
Hecarim here in mid. There gets the flash out of the Pantheon. Pantheon jumping back in for a little bit of a trade here.
This is dangerous for the Hecarim.
Yeah, it is dangerous, but turns around a little bit of damage there, but the invulnerability, and the Xin Zhao is back again. That's another kill. Pantheon picking up this one.
So a lot of that 2v2 going on right now. The Xin Zhao wanting to stay near the Pantheon as much as he can. That is a very strong 2v2.
Mm-hmm.
They're making it happen.
Yeah, and Pantheon a lot of times, people get baited by that invulnerability. You see him low, you think, all I've got to do is land 1 or 2 spells on him, he goes down, but not that easy. You have to be able to survive during that invulnerability.
Absolutely.
The rest of the lane's in a pretty passive space. We don't expect much from the cannon top, getting his flash blown early here.
Still a ranged melee matchup, so he is going to abuse a bit on the trades against Darius, which he's doing pretty well.
Right.
But the CS lead is actually in favor of Darius, so he's doing a very good job. A lot of that due to that pressure by the Hecarim early on.
Exactly. You would think, though, that, with this harass coming out, that eventually a CS lead will manifest itself for Kennen. Because it gets harder and harder for Darius to step up, get farm as he gets lower in this lane.
Right, yeah. Which is what we're seeing right now. The CS lead is already almost close to 0.
Thresh looking for a cheeky hook through the wall there as Aphelios shoves in. Hecarim is bot right now. Getting pinged out, though. Steps on a ward, I believe. Xin Zhao in the base. Hecarim going to clear that Tribrush ward out there. There is quite the CS lead in the mid lane.
Yeah, that kill was a lot of attention on mid, and Yasuo got the better half of it because of the CS. However, he is a kill and an assist down. And he was a first blood, which I think went to Xin Zhao, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But it's still a 200 gold assist.
Exactly. And it is, still almost a 1,000 gold lead here for solo lane Diff. So, they're definitely in great position.
Right. In the mid lane, it's about 300 gold difference for the Pantheon. So even with that CS being behind, he does have a full kill worth of gold. And he invested in the quick tab eyes here, so really afraid of that Yasuo all in.
Xin Zhao going for the solo on the dragon early here. Spot lane's had pressure here. He knows his Pantheon's ahead, so it feels pretty safe doing it. Thresh pushing in here, I but a little bit too late. Xin Zhao's already going to pick up dragon, and that's an Ocean Drake. And an early Ocean Drake can mean a lot for these lanes, especially for like the Kennen top and the harassment. That little bit of extra healing can go a long way.
Absolutely. And I think the Ocean Drake, as you said, Darius going into a range matchup here, he would want to have that Ocean Drake. So this is also preventing blue side here, the last dancers, from getting something that could pretty much make their lives a lot easier in the early game.
Yep. Kennen doing a good job now, like we talked about earlier, now has, a lot of that pressure onto the Darius. Darius not as easy able to step up here and get the CS, and that CS lead is starting to form.
I just want to highlight, very good job by the Aphelios. He's doing very well in CS. Into an Ashe, it's not an easy task to do. He will have enough for a BF and even some other ornaments when he gets back.
Let me ask you, you're a bot lane player. How much of your mentality goes into when you know your jungler is winning his matchup? How much does it play into your ability to play aggressive in the bot lane?
Especially when the jungler is playing on the bottom half of the map, which Xin Zhao is currently doing. He got the dragon, he got the Gromp, he's staying near. You just know that you can go for those trades. You can be pushing a bit more, because if the Hecarim does show up, good chances are your Xin Zhao will be aware and he will come as well.
This could be Pantheon looking for an ult here, maybe hanging in the river a little bit. Siding against it, looks like, moving back to the lane. Looks like we are going to get an AP Kennen too.
AP Kennen coming in, right? At this point, however, Aphelios has not backed, and Ashe has the BF sword, so she is a lot more powerful in that 2v2.
They do have a large lane,
yeah.
Large lane here wave. Crashing, yeah. Maybe be able to back off this wave. Hecarim is 6, also level 7 on the Xin Zhao right now. just power farming. Yeah, I know, just power farming after that early advantage, which seems good. You know, the next fight over an objective, he's going to have an EXP lead. And none of his lanes are really in threat right now. Kinnan was able to farm out his flash being down without really any threat from Hecarim returning to that lane. And the mid lane, CS lead for Yasuo, but Pantheon seems to be fine with that. Still probably sitting on a slight gold lead thanks to his team.
And here's what we see in the ESDL, right? When any competitive scenario, games slow down quite a bit. Teams will get, they have nerves, they want to make something happen early game, and then once that happens, they calm down. It's like that first kill was dealt, they can breathe and they can farm.
The Ash Arrow got shot bot lane, looks like on accident maybe in the jungle. Xin Zhao going to be getting the Rift Herald on top. Not sure if Solo Lane Diff saw that, so we're not sure that they know that the Ash Arrow is out.
It was an accident. She meant to cast her E. Let's see.
You sure she did not just want to shoot the altar?
Towards enemy inhibitor, I doubt it.
Yeah. I'll trust you. You're the bot lane expert. Hook does lane here. Thresh acting like he wants to go a little bit aggressive. Hecarim is in the area. Xin Zhao invading on top side. A lot of free damage here, though, onto the Thresh while he's trying to set this up. Trading in the mid lane also. Hecarim has an angle here. Still waiting, deciding if he wants to go. There is no Ash Arrow. This is what, you know, you accidentally shoot the Ash Arrow. There's no Ash Arrow to force an engagement here.
Now in the mid laner, there's a 30 CS difference for the Yasuo. He's doing a very good job. They're tied in gold at this point, so the 300 gold lead is down the drain for Pantheon at this point.
Yep. Very good stuff for the mid laner from Last Dancers. That is a cloudy day. And frankly, you know, even though they are down about 900 to 1,000 gold here, but they're far from out of this game, right? Hecarim is coming in on the bot lane. Hecarim gets the knockback onto the Braum. The Ashe attacking, slowing. No Summ's blown yet. TP coming in bot lane. That'll be the Kinnan. Lots of damage coming out. This Aphelios is popping off. That's one kill. That's two kills. It could be a third. The Pantheon ulting in to secure it. Kinnan picks it up. TP also in from the Darius, but he just gets locked up. That's going to be the Rift Herald also in a 6-0 game currently.
That was beautiful. That was a full team collapse by Solo Lane Diff here. All of them making their way bot lane here to help the Aphelios and the Braum on the counter gank. Aphelios had the white gun, which means those chakrams are going to be doing a lot of damage, especially in the melee range scenario that he was in.
Exactly. You saw his ability to just cut through the Ashe and Thresh like it was nothing. Now dragon spawning here. This is about perfect timing for Solo Lane Diff.
First turret did go down, and I think he was shared among 4 people, however, so he wasn't all on the Aphelios, but making everyone scale up evenly. Yeah,
and Pantheon, who had been, you know, getting behind him farm in his lane and was starting to lose his lead, picks up another kill there. So now right back to having a lead in the mid lane. Yasuo does get a little bit of CS there while he's gone, but Yasuo just not able to follow that. A little bit of trading here, but Thresh in the area, but Xin Zhao is here also for the counter gank. That's going to be a knock up there. Yasuo flashing, but gets killed by the Xin Zhao. The Thresh knocked back by the Xin ult. Beautiful. Hecarim here now dealing some damage, but the Pantheon and Xin Zhao are so strong. So much damage going out here. Down goes the Hecarim. Thresh trying to flay him in under tower, but to no avail.
Oh,
a hook here. Gets the flash off the Pantheon. Isn't going to go for it. They're both acting like they want to.
Rotations here for Solo Lane Diff.
A flash out of Darius top lane onto the Kinnan. He's trying to go for the solo kill. Gets all 5 stacks, but not able to stay on Kinnan. Just so annoying with these auto attacks. So what do you do if you're the Last Dancers now? What's your game plan for getting back into this?
They do have the Yasuo, they do have the Ashe, so they have a lot of scaling. They have to start looking for a way to make that scaling happen. And at this point, I think it has to be picked, right? You have the Ashe Arrow, which could lead into a Hecarim gank. Hecarim has to play around the Yasuo more. We've talked about how his E enables Yasuo ult very fast. And we haven't been seeing that. The jungle proximity just isn't there for the mid lane. Maybe they're opting to send more resources, but...
Oh no. Okay, he's back. Okay. Had a second there. He thought about it.
I was just getting that macro Alt F4 ready.
making sure. But yeah, as you said, there's still plenty of scaling on this team. If they could slow the game down, if they could stop the bleeding. They're not on soul point or anything right now. There's no Rift Herald up. This is the perfect time. Slow the game down. Let your Yasuo get to some items. Let your Ashe get to an item before you think about another fight. Yasuo is getting pressure 3-man here. Hecarim is behind them, but there isn't a flash or heal on the Aphelios here, but I can't imagine them wanting to go for the 2v3 play. Here's going to back up. Turret plating does fall off before they get this one in mid lane, but Yasuo forced into CSing under his tower, which he has done a very good job of in this game. About to open up a 40 CS lead on the Pantheon.
Very good stuff here. And as the next dragon approaches in a couple of minutes still,
Kennen going for the ult top lane, the 1v1 here. The Pantheon ulting in to make it a 2v1. Does blow the flash off the Kennen. This almost certainly will be a kill here, though. Darius trying to kite it out. Does not have the flash from the earlier trades. There it is, going on. Oh, Hecarim going to try and help him. Forced to use the ult to get out. Barely dodged the Aphelios ult. The flash Braum ult lands the auto in the queue, and Braum picks that one up. Saying if my 80 carry can't do it, I'll do it myself. One thing we'll do, we'll go ahead and get those timers up now as we're moving through some of the objectives here later in the game. It is 42 seconds on the Rift Herald now. Expect solo lane Diff to prioritize a little bit of pressure around this mid lane prior to that spawning.
and at this point in the game, the last entrants cannot fight a straight team fight. They're way too behind. 6,000 gold lead, 4 solo lane Diff right now, and Aphelios is huge.
Yes, very strong right now. The IE finished right now, sitting on level 9 currently. His sums are coming off cooldown also. The Yasuo, not finished an item yet. Neither has the Ashe. Ashe is going to get her Essence Trigger finished on the base, but that is the Rift Herald spawning now, and they're in no position to contest this.
They have to give it at this point.
Yeah.
They're doing a very good job of just getting the waves, getting some CS up, trying to make something happen in terms of gold, getting those item completions, as Ashe does complete her Essence Reaver here.
Yeah. Now they do have several melee champions. It's inside the Pantheon. So if plays happen around turrets where you're able to lock people up with this Thresh, with this Ashe, or catch somebody in a Yasuo, well, that's your way of getting back into this game, right? You want them to make a mistake, over diving you.
There's a hit for Herald top here.
Nice little trade right there for Darius with the ult coming out from Kennen. Yeah, he's not going to get this. The ult early there just to try and get damage out, but dies, and the turret going down.
Yeah, very hard stuff here for the last dancers as this lead just keeps expanding.
Yeah, the dragon spawning in 15 seconds here and forcing some members top lane to deal with this. There is a TP on Darius when it spawns, but Thresh is this far away at this point. Hecarim is farming the wolves. You imagine they are giving this dragon. Which is right. It's not soul point. There's no reason to fight over a single Cloud Drake, and a little bit lucky for them that it is the Cloud Soul, not the Infernal this game. Cloud Soul a little bit more manageable to deal with. You don't feel as, needed to fight over it. Weird, a little bit weird for Ashen to move over. Maybe just getting some vision, try a W steal here, but yeah, nothing coming from that.
She can't really go bot to farm right now. She can't really go mid. There's not much left to do, so she's just walking around and getting some poke damage down.
Going aggressive onto the Yasuo, forcing the flash. They are getting
a Hecarim here. He has a flank position.
He does. His ultimate is up. Ghost is up. But
back off.
Yeah, solo lane Diff already rotating 5 mid. It gets real dangerous really fast because if you're Hecarim going in right now, you know the gold lead, and you know if you lose a fight, you're more than likely losing at least 2 towers in mid. But we do have some item collisions. The Phantom Dancer is done on the Yasuo now. We're still trying to get to the Trinity on Hecarim and the Darius here. And this, like we talked about earlier, they're not true tanks. They're off tanks. So it's not like you can just say, oh, that's fine. I'm going to get to my tank items. It's not going to matter, if I'm behind now. These are champions that do need to deal some damage.
They're both opting to go with a very expensive first item here. At some point, that item is good, but you need... Oh.
We'll lock up good wind wall there to halt the damage as Pantheon jumped in. Oh, a nice trade there with the Spirit of Aphelios damage.
Right. So those item completions, they have to come in. They're waiting on it. Every member of Solo Lane Diff has a full item complete except the support here, and they're going for the Trinity Force instead of going for maybe the Black Cleaver, which is a less expensive item here, but it does give you an early power spike.
Right. Look at that Aphelios damage, and that's on to your Darius, who is supposed to be one of your bigger frontliners, one of the champions you need it. Oh, Braum opting into that trade there, but a kill behind the tower. Zinzal just diving over here. They are onto the Hecarim also. He does have ult, choosing to ult out there. Going in, the Braum still very low, but surviving. Aphelios dealing so much damage here. Yasuo barely gets the Braum. Kennen coming in, catches the Hecarim. Thresh hooking here. We're looking at potentially an ace as Kennen goes in, ulting under the tower. Stopwatch pop by the Thresh, but he's only delaying the inevitable as Kennen picks up the kill. Looks like we might get a forfeit.
Yep, it is going to be potentially the forfeit coming in here, but it wasn't a perfect game.
And there it is.
Coming in.
Is a forfeit.
They did get a kill back, so it was not the perfect game.
Yeah, you can go ahead